Today we're back with another video, and I just want to say something right before I get started. I am making this video before Monday Night Football because I will be leaving tomorrow, and I will not be able to make any videos from then because I'm going on vacation for Thanksgiving. So we're just getting this out before. So the game on Monday night, I do not have anything to say about, but that's about it. And as we know, I normally start with the Broncos, but not this week. Not this week. They're on bye, which they need the rest, so it's cool with me. So we're just gonna talk about all the other games that have been going on around the league, and then we're just gonna get right into it with the Green Bay Packers and Vikings game. I just want to talk about this because JJ McCarthy, last few weeks have been talking about how he's not very good, and he continues. And I'm like, you can't judge him too early because who knows what he'll do next year. But he just looked terrible, kept taking terrible sacks, not getting the ball away, throwing picks, had under 100 passing yards. Now that's Green Bay's defense looked elite. It controlled the line of scrimmage. It shut down the run game, which does make it harder for a young quarterback to be able to play, and just forcing the Vikings to uncomfortable third down situations. And offensively, the Packers' offense still doesn't look great. I think it's still very clear Jordan Love is not the guy in Green Bay. Like, he's good. He's a starting NFL quarterback. He's just not the guy that people made him out to be. But they played mistake-free football today, and that led to an easy win. And then the game I watched more of intently today was the Bears game versus the Steelers. Chicago's offense has shown major growth throughout the year. I think it's really, but yeah, because they put up 31, but against a good Steeler defense. But I think the bigger takeaway from this game is how well the Bears defense was able to play. With, I think, by the end of the game, 6 players hurt. They didn't have any linebackers, which is insane. And they were able to win because the Steelers aren't a bad team, but they also didn't have Aaron Rodgers. So who knows how that game could have went, because the Steelers almost went down, came back near the end. But I think the defensive line for the Bears has grown a lot. The offensive line has grown a lot. They got good run play. Caleb played a pretty good game, it looked like. So, except for he took a bad sack in his own red zone. I don't know why he held on to the ball so long, but that's just what happened. But because he's a young guy, he's still got a lot of learning to. I think he'll be a good quarterback in the NFL. And I think the Bears have I think 8-3. You can't complain about that. You can call them frauds all you want, but they're 8-3, and you can't argue with those numbers. And then the Bills lose versus the Texans. That was a bad game all around for the Texans. Not Texans, I meant the Bills. The Texans dominated on the defensive line. Will Anderson Jr. had like 2.5, 3 sacks. They had 8 total, I think. That game was a mess all around. Davis Mills actually just about looks better than C.J. Stroud, which I think is kind of funny because how good C.J. Stroud was his rookie year. But Davis Mills, I really think, is playing better than C.J. Stroud right now, which is really interesting. Obviously, when Stroud is back, he'll come back and be the starter in Houston. But Buffalo's late game execution wasn't great. They had 4th and 27, and they ran a really cool play, catch a pitch that worked really well. I thought at that point they were going to go down and win, but they just couldn't get it done. Yeah, that had huge implications. The Bills are probably just about out of reach of the Patriots now in division, with them being 10-2, and I think the Bills 7-4 or 8-4, one of those two. And the Texans are right back in the divisional race for their division, so that's cool too. So the Ravens, we're gonna go back to the Ravens. Talking about when we talk about divisions, because of the Bears win over the Steelers, the Ravens just overtook the Steelers in the division, which is really interesting because I think they were 1-5. They've now won 5 straight, and just Lamar being back, obviously such a huge help. They have a few guys back on defense as well. The Baltimore is right back in the AFC again. They pressured the Jets consistently, forced all drives. The change at quarterback didn't really help for the Jets. The Jets were actually, I think, winning going into half, but the Ravens were able to flip a switch, which which they not a lot of people thought they could possibly do. And also with a team hanging with another team that nobody thought they could, the Bengals had a surprisingly competitive game versus the Patriots, where that first half, I think there's two pick sixes. That was a lot of the points, but both teams didn't look great. Patriots are good, but I don't think they're that good. I don't think they're as good as people make them out to be. But you can say that about any good team. But the Bengals, they made it close until near the end. The Patriots kind of broke away because obviously, I mean, I think the Bengals almost had Joe Burrow come back this week. So Joe Burrow will be back next week, and that'll be interesting. Obviously, they're not a playoff team. They will not make the playoffs, but it will be good because I have in fantasy football. So, and Baker Mayfield, we can talk about later, who was absolutely terrible last night. So I need a fantasy quarterback, but that's besides the point. Then Lions Giants game, another competitive game where a game people didn't think would be competitive, an overtime win with the Lions and Giants. Lions over the Giants. I just want to mainly talk about Jameis Winston. I love that guy. He incredible touchdown catch. Like that was like actual, like he stiff arm broke a guy's tackle. As it was crazy. But the Giants did control most of the game, and they just prove again and again they cannot finish these close games. Which, that's what happens when you're not a great football team. The great teams are able to close, and that's why they got eliminated from the playoffs this week. And then we're going to go to another overtime game, which this game might have been the biggest game of the week. Specifically for the Chiefs, it was obviously the biggest game of the year. Last year was the biggest game of the year. Every single game for the Chiefs is just going to keep getting bigger if they want to make the playoffs. But they were also able to take the game to overtime. Had a chance to win in regulation, but Colts, like I've been saying in the past, teams are starting to figure out how to beat the Colts. If their run game is as dominant as it was the entire start of the year, Daniel Jones will not be as good. That Sauce Gardner trade, he has done absolutely nothing. I mean, so I think the Chiefs were just the better team out there. The Colts did control majority of the game. The Chiefs were able to come back. I think when you're talking about the Chiefs' backs against the wall, there's no way they lose that game. So, yeah, that's basically that game. And then I know this is a big one everyone was talking about looking at it on paper, like, why would people be talking about the Browns-Raiders game? Well, there's a guy named Shedeur Sanders, and he actually didn't play too bad of a game, had a bad throw. He made a really nice throw on the run, outside the pocket, deep ball. They threw a pick, I think, the next few plays, but he's a young guy. He looked better than all the quarterbacks we've seen all year for Cleveland. He's clearly better than Dillon Gabriel. I don't know what the problem there is. I don't know why they're all trying to stop. I don't know why the coach. It seems like the coaches are trying to stop Shedeur Sanders from being good. I think they just don't like him, but they had to draft him because he's that good and he fell to the 5th round. But I don't know. That'll be interesting how that plays out to see if he earned a game starting. So we'll see how that goes. Saints Falcons. Not really much to say about this game. I don't even remember much about it, so I'm gonna look at. But tonight is the Panthers 49ers. Yeah, so the Falcons just won a easy game against the Saints. Not really much happening there. Then I want to talk about the Rams Buccaneers primetime. That was an embarrassment for the Buccaneers. That was the Buccaneers just keep falling off, and it's not looking great right now. The Rams look like serious Super Bowl contenders right now. They have been playing lights out. Matthew Stafford, if the season ended right now, Myles Garrett should theoretically if Myles Garrett should be the MVP, but he won't because they suck and defensive players don't win MVP. But he's at 18 sacks right now, and they are on pace. He's on pace to beat the record by like 5 because it's at 18. He needs 4.5 more sacks, and there's 5 weeks left. He's gonna easily break that record. So that's. And he had a 3-game stretch this year without a single sack, which makes it even more incredible. He's so dominant. It's crazy. Oh, yeah, but there was another overtime game I forgot to talk about. That was the Jaguars-Cardinals. I'll be honest, I didn't watch that one. But it's a big win for the Jaguars because they need to keep that pace ahead of the Chiefs, and that's really the only way that the Chiefs can make the playoffs is if the Jaguars kind of fall off because the Jaguars do have that tiebreaker. So even if they end with the same record, it's not looking good for them. But that's all we're going to talk about today. And sorry, no Monday. That's 49ers Panthers. That'll be a good game to talk. That'll be a good game to talk about. I'm just not able to with where I'm going to be. No internet, no nothing. So, see ya.